right, it is Friday. It is time for John's Dungeon Corner, coming to you live from the Collective right here in Altamont Springs, Florida. You guys know that already, though. For anybody who's just joining us new, I am John. I am wearing my Dungeons and Dragons shirt. It's got a dragon, a nice D20 on there. My daughter Hope brought that back for me when she went up to Maine for a wedding, and she thought of me, and look at that, Dungeons and Dragons forever, huh? But anyway, so today we are going to talk about all things adventuring, like the adventure books, okay? And unfortunately, last week I wasn't unable to be on because they were getting everything ready for the big comic book day, free comic book day on Saturday, which was amazing. 2 thumbs up to everybody who came out and supported the Collective that day. I mean, it was amazing. Unfortunately, I had to work, wasn't able to come myself, but my son Antonio was here with his fiance, and they just loved it. Okay, so talking about all things adventuring, last week, which I missed out on being able to talk to you about, was the premiere drop of the Death Comes to Glen Fallow. It is an adventure book by William Sam Quinton. He's one of my favorite authors. He does the 47 Furious Tales, which we had talked about at one time, and it's just amazing. I read it. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it. I will tell you that it's an awesome adventure. It has to do with the undead. There is the information. Let me tell you something about adventure books in general, okay? Adventure books are usually geared towards a level for your adventures. And this is kind of talking to the DMs, the game masters out there. It's geared towards a certain level of adventures. And it has a theme behind it. Okay, so it's connected. Maybe there's a previous module. Maybe there's modules that are coming out. Maybe it's part of a series. Maybe it's a standalone. And you can actually play with it. And the neat thing about these is that, like the books, they give you a storyline, a framework. And you can actually add to this if you want to spice it up a little bit. Or if you think your characters, it's not quite fitting just the way, you can actually change things. But the neat thing about it is that it's a story in and of itself. It's an adventure in and of itself. And that's what makes the adventure books and modules so neat. So this one has some amazing art. Okay, there it is on the cover and on the back. You know, it's like I said, it has to do with the undead and the stirring of things that should have been better left alone. The paper it's on is beautiful. It looks like a scroll book. It's like a book of scrolls. Okay. Has a neat table of contents. You're not going to be able to see it very well, unfortunately. So you're going to have to come down to the store. I like talking about things that you got to come down and see. There's a section for the game master. Kind of tells you what's going on. It talks about random adventures and encounters, some of the material, and how to handle the characters within. Then it has, in the first chapter, it talks about the people and places of Glen Fallow. You know, like things, like always, like I've always said, most of my adventures start out in a tavern. Well, there's a tavern called Glen Fallow's Rest, which is really neat. Okay. And in it, it gives you the cost for lodgings and some notes for the game masters. And that's what's neat about him. In here, you're going to find a lot of notes for the game master. You're going to see some of the characters like Faye Dawn-Daughter, Anna, even the guards have names. He even took the time. So there's Ulthar, Rupert, Denia, and Cholden. So it's a lot of fun because there's the halfling cook has a name, Danigan, the millwright, Beaumont Cogmiller. You know, these names are just awesome, and it talks a little bit about them, and it gives their stats, and there's always game notes. Like each page, I'm not going to get too much into it because I want you to come and see it. But, you know, and then there's Glen Fallow Keep. The guards, once again, are named. The Lord of Glen Fallow has a name. He has a little bit of background. And then it talks about how Glen Fallow's under construction. And it has a cool map. Well, talking about maps. Oh, you know how I am about maps, right? So I'm going to come up close to show you this. I'm going to come around here. So this is where all the adventuring takes place. Oh, let me move it up and turn it. Okay, let me see if I can keep this straight. Nope, the other way. All right, so there it is. I don't have a camera on the table today. Oh, good grief, John. Let me see if I can get the book straight for you. There we go. Now let me pull it this way. Okay, and then let me bring it up. God, when I do that, the lines just get blurry. But that's the map. It's a beautiful map. Let me pull it away, maybe. No, see. Okay, forget that map. This is a pull-out map that you can have. Look at this one. Okay. Let me turn this. Good grief, John. There we go. It's a beautiful full-color map. And you can't see the reading on it real well. And John can't keep this straight for the life of him. But that's the map that comes. It's a pull-out map that you can show your players. The one is hexed. The one here, there is a hex. Excuse me, they're not hexed. They're natural draw. They're really free drawn, and it's beautiful, beautiful. And I kind of got ahead of myself, but talking about maps, I love maps, and so this is a picture. This is what I meant to say. Let me bring this up there too. This is actually Glenfallow under construction, and it is in the 1 inch square. It's all squared off, so you can actually have an idea of how big it is, which I love. And once again, there's in chapter 2, it talks about some of the things, the fall festival. There's a lot of artwork in here, beautiful artwork. You got to come down. I'm telling you, there's only a couple of copies of this left. I bought mine the day it came out, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to talk about it. But the encounters are awesome. I'm not going to talk to you about I'm not going to tell you about the encounters, but there's encounters, and they're labeled. And he goes through and gives you the monsters and their stats. And he actually lists them. There's game master notes and everything to kind of help you out. This and if this happens, and each one of them, it's that kind of cool because, okay, so the way he set up the encounter is it tells you what the number of the encounter, 1, 2, 3, the monsters that are in it. It describes the monsters. It is a little game note, and then the escalation. How he has a part where if this happens, then these number come out, and then there's more game master notes that kind of lead you to the next part. And he has maps, and I'm just going to kind of show you a little map. See, you really can't see it. The lighting is gorgeous here, but so there's the map that he does, and he kind of puts it out in 1 inch squares. There we go. Okay, so that's what I wanted you to see. He's kind of like a little tease, I guess. And it's all like that. There's an encounter, there's a map, there's an escalation to it, and it goes on to another part of the game that we encounter 4. You can actually, and here's the neat thing, you can actually lay this out, okay? And there's 1 inch squares. I'll show you. You can actually encounter, I think this is encounter 4, happens. And he actually has a neat little encounter page that you can actually lay out. And I'm sure he wouldn't get mad if you photocopied it for use so that you can lay it flat. And you can actually play it on there. And he does this with the encounters because they happen in certain places. And like I said, there's artwork throughout the entire book, which I just love. It's just amazing what he's done to kind of put everything into it. And more maps in the back. I mean, there's like a whole area of maps. Like I said, you got to really come down here to really appreciate it. You have to come and get a copy, or at least just come and take a look at it. It's over there with the D&D sections. And he's got coming soon. He's got Furious Tales issue 3, and he's starting a new comic book called Reign of Ages issue 1. Here's a little blurb about it. Follow the adventures of the youngest member of an ancient order of elven mystic warriors as she awakens from untold centuries trapped in stone. Set in the Glenfallow region of the Terra Adventure series, this comic follows an all-lady adventuring group who accompany Reign on her journey. So it's illustrated by Nick Capone, and it's written, of course, by William S. Quinton. It's coming in January, the Kickstarter, January 2022. So look for it. If you're into adventure comic books, definitely. His 47 Tells, I'm going to tell you, I follow it. It's beautiful. It's a 12, and the Furious Tales is going to be a 12-issue limited comic book series. The blurb on that one is telling the story of the 47 Ronin through anthropomorphic animal characters. Things get bloody in this beautiful full-color comic filled with furious samurai action. This one's illustrated by Alexia Bell-Hewson. I might have mispronounced it. And, of course, just written by William Quinton. It's gorgeous. I'm telling you, this is well worth. I think it's like it was $20. It's a great. Oh, One thing I will say is like for character levels, I think 3 through 5 is what it said. Let me look at this real quick. I remember it was 3 through 5. And like I said, the backbone of this is that you can, if you want to make it a little bit more dangerous for your characters, add a few more characters. He's already got the monsters. You just got to kind of add more of them, or maybe add a little tougher version of them. And if your characters, you don't think they're quite strong, but you want to take them through it, maybe this is where you want to start out, then you can tone them down. But anyway, that's his book. It's available here at the Collective, and I'm gonna put that right there, so you can kind of keep an eye, take a look and see at it. All right, so talking about adventure books and things like that. At this point, I want to kind of jump on a D&D and talk about the adventures that they have out. We had talked about this slightly before as a dungeon master, but I kind of want to look into, because there's different worlds, like the Curse of Strahd. This happens in Ravenloft, which is its own D&D setting. Curse of Strahd is a classic. They revamped it for 5e, and this adventure is for characters levels 1 through 10. So essentially, you can start at the front, and there's a map in here. I'm not going to open this, but it's in here. It's a beautiful fold-out map of Barovia, where Strahd von Zarovich is. There are journal entries back here in the back. It's beautifully illustrated. Just like everything else, it has its monsters. It has a part, where you read. There are very many maps in here. Many, many maps. It talks about Strahd's history. The adventure structure, it's amazing. These are well thought out. It's something that will take you from 1st to 10th level. You'll meet characters, NPCs in there. So many adventures to take place. I'm not, once again, I'm never going to spoil the adventures for you, because I think that adventuring through them the first time, it gives you that feel. And you can play these multiple times with different characters, because depending on your composition of your adventuring party will give you different results. That's just the way it is. Anyway, so there's that. Here we go. So let me see if I can find it. There's so much artwork in here, but I don't want to give anything away. It's hard because there's such beautiful rendered artwork. And here's one of my favorites. I know, to me, it's always about the merchant. Here's a little picture of a merchant wagon. And it's a simple drawing, but when you sit there and you're talking to the characters and you say, okay, we run into a traveling merchant, and you're able to show them a piece of artwork that shows a wagon and it has a sign on it, and even if you can't make out the sign real well, that's okay, because it's your adventure. You can depict that wagon as whoever's it belongs to in your world. And here's one. Of course, I don't know if you want to run into this, but here goes some zombies in a marsh. I don't know if you want to walk into that late at night, but hey, it's there. It's awesome representation of what you can be encountering. And so the game is visual. Whether you're using miniatures or not, you still have the artwork. But this campaign is Curse of Strahd. It happens in Ravenloft, Barovia. It's for levels 1 through 10. Okay, so over here, then of course, this is one of the newer ones, Icewind Dale, Rim of the Frost Maiden. This one is for character levels 1 through 11, and they all vary. And once again, beautiful artwork. I mean, just from the get-go, you've got beautiful artwork in there. And like I said, you can depict it as, hey, you ran into a group of adventurers who are ice fishing, or maybe a townspeople that are ice fishing, and you have that picture right there. It's really neat. Here we go. Which you'll see, you run into a pack of wolves, and there you go. There's a lot in here. Woo! Excuse me. There's appendixes with magical items, of course, and you'll always have monsters. Like, here we go. This is nothing great, but here we go. It's a mountain elk right there, and it gives you the stats. Excuse me, I'm sorry, a mountain goat. It's a very white. Here's something neat. Okay, so here go 4 things I'm going to show you on this page: a hare, which is a rabbit, an ice troll and his stats, and a knucklehead trout. Now, I'm not going to tell you why those are in there, what they're about, but if you can see, those are the pictures, the illustrations, and underneath them, you can't really see it, unfortunately, are the scroll-like statistics for the monsters. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this artwork. Okay, that's awesome. There's an elk there. That's why I kind of said the elk, and there's a fortress there, as the case may be, whatever. Some of the other artwork I don't want to show you because it'll kind of spoil some of the things, but it goes through the adventure. You can start out again, first level, go all the way up to the 11th, and then jump off to something else. And the neat thing about this is, once again, any of these you can make the encounters a little bit more, or you can sit there and make them a little bit easier for your characters. All right. Now, let me take a look at something. Okay, good. I'm always looking at the time because it's important. Now, if you want something to go into the Underdark and you want to do an Underdark campaign, well, here we go. This is the Out of the Abyss, 1st through 15th level. This one will take you up to 15th. And I had talked about this before. It's the Rage of Demons with Demogorgon, one of the princes of the Abyss, one of the lords of the Abyss. And this is also, once again, the artwork in here is amazing. You've got so much that you can cover in this. I mean, imagine 15 levels of adventure in one book. But once again, magic items, which I love, right? Magic. I'm even going to show you. See, I'm trying to show you different parts of everything, but magic items, a cape and a sword. But hey, what they are, you got to play the adventure to find out. Not going to spoil that for you. And I always like to pick a piece of artwork that I liked out of it, which is really neat. That doesn't give anything away. Just kind of like let me see. There's one. I'm looking for the one that I saw. It was like just, oh, okay. So here we go. This is a large group of adventurers. You can kind of see it. It's like really neat over here on this page. 3 at the forefront. There's a bunch of people behind. You know, it's just cool because adventuring groups, you know, I've run adventuring groups as small as 2 people. And you just got to sit there and change things a little bit, you know, kind of make it a little different. And I've run here at the Collective on a Wednesday night. I've had up to 12 players, which means you got to change things. And you never know. When you do it on like on Wednesdays where it's a freestyle, whoever wants to come and play, yeah, the group's kind of like settled down. You kind of have an idea of how many players you're going to have. But if you don't, hey, it's like that. But there's all the monsters, and it kind of takes you about the audience, you know, when you arrive at certain places. And it gives you the whole background. Everything is laid out for you. From the NPC encounters at a tavern and who you may encounter in the city, who the blacksmith is, all the way to, hey, we're now going into the dungeon. We're going into the fortress, whatever, into the caverns. And this is what happens along the way. It's like a play that's playing itself out, and you're the actors. All right. So then we come over here to the Tomb of Annihilation. Ooh, this is another one that was a remake. This one goes 1 through 11. And if you've heard of the Tomb of Annihilation, you know what you're in store for. This is actually played in the Forgotten Realms, as is Icewind Dale and Out of the Abyss. These are all in the Forgotten Realms. And this actually takes place in Chult, which is a tropical wilderness. So now you're going into a tropical forest. And I picked these out because the 3 of them, although they're in the same world, which is the Forgotten Realms, they all take place in diverse environments. Like Icewind Dale takes place in a very cold place, Icewind Dale. It's cold, it's snowing most of the time. And so you're going to be in mountain settings. You're going to be in caverns that are cold with snow. Then you've got Out of the Abyss. Well, Out of the Abyss takes you underground into the Underdark, which is the home of the Drow, the Illithids, you know, all the subterranean races. And it gives you it's more of a cavern, dungeon, deep Underdark, the Underdark. And then, of course, the Tomb of Annihilation, which I'm holding in my hands, takes you to the jungles of Chult. And it's a jungle wilderness, totally different. It's got more like a, I don't know. It's a, Chult is an amazing place. It's an island nation, really. And let's see. I want to say, I don't want to give away, but it's more like a jungle setting. I'll leave it at that. It's more like a jungle, like if you were in a rainforest, kind of like in the Amazon. If you can imagine the Amazon adventuring in there, that's what you're going to get yourself into. So you've got 3 different types of campaigns, 3 different types of environments and campaign settings that you can play in. And it's all within the same world. Now, the Curse of Strahd is a little different, and this is the neat thing about that. You can be playing in the Forgotten Realms, you can be playing in Greyhawk, you can be playing in Eberron, different worlds, right? And the way it usually happens is a fog envelops the party. Um, you walk for a distance, and as you're walking, you're seeing that the stars are a little different. Things aren't the same, and you show up, ta-da, in Barovia. You come out of the mist in Barovia, and that's how the adventure begins. Usually, I'm not giving anything away because there's different ways you can do that. You can be in Barovia and run that campaign and just start in Barovia as adventurers. So that's kind of like the theme. That one can be used in any world setting. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of go back in time. All right. And they have come out with interpretations, 5th edition renditions, conversions, as what they call it, in classic homage to the older module sets. That once upon a time they had these, like right now, Icewind Dale is 1 through 11, and it's a compilation of that gets you there. Back in the day of, I want to say 2.0, 3.0, there were these modules that would come out. Like in the first one I'm holding in my hands is B1 in Search of the Unknown and B2 Keep on the Borderlands. And they have put these into, I guess what you could call an anthology, maybe, because it's like a group. Man, I'm using the wrong wording, but this is for adventures, first level. It was the first set of books. All the adventures are reincarnated in here. And oh my gosh, it's a book. And it just takes you through everything. It's basically the modules, same exact modules they were then with the maps. I'm not going to show that one off, and it just takes you through. Now, granted, the artwork in these is all black and white. It's still nice, but you got to remember what they did was they just revamped these. They took the adventures and brought them up to 5th edition, but they did a great job. This is Ore, which is original Adventures Goodman Games reincarnated. They're for sale here. If you wanted to do an old school module in the 5th edition style, this is an awesome adventure. Now, that's one of my favorites. I played in that. Here we go. Number 2, number 2's been bought, but here goes Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. This came from Origins 2. This was actually a tournament scenario that they had. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it, but here we go. A crazed starship buried for centuries beneath the Barrier Peaks has awoken, and I'll leave it at that. It's just crazy. This Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. Hey, can you see if the I don't see anybody scrolling or anything. I can't see the comments, so I'm sorry. There we go.
Danny said,
hey, Danny, how are you?
And then William San Quentin did a great job on that book.
Yes, he did. William San Quentin did do a great book on the book. And once again, I apologize to everybody for not being able to do it last week, but free comic book day. It takes a lot of work, gang, to get something like that. It's a free comic book event, and these guys work many hours for that day, for one day. Okay. You know, you're open for that 10 hours for the day, but you've put in a whole week's worth of work times 40 hours times 6, 7, 8, 9 people added up for one day. Okay. So it's a lot of work. You got to thank these guys. I always thank them. I appreciate them. So you guys, when you come and say, hey, thanks. Okay. But anyway. Oh, I always thank you, man. I always thank Steven. Without him, there wouldn't be a show. But this is the Expedition to Barrier Peaks. Yeah, I want to kind of start wrapping up. Number 4 is The Lost City. This is B4. It's so funny because this is B1, B2. This is B4. It's a mini campaign. It takes characters from 1st to 7th level. It was in the B series, and the B basically stood for beginner campaigns. All right, that's what it stands for. That's what the B was about. And it has quite a few adventures. You get all the maps in it. I'm just going to flash those. But like I said, everything is pretty much in black and white. Here goes B4, The Lost City. It's really cool. And there's commentary by authors, I believe, in these. Includes commentary by Mike Maris and Harold Johnston. The conversion was done by Chris Doyle and Tim Wanzinski. Goodman Games. They're doing a great job of bringing back the, what they say, oldies but goodies. Okay. Now we got B5. Castle Amber. Oh, yeah. Chateau de Amberville. This is this is from characters. This is one of those in betweens. It's characters levels 3 to 7. The Amber family was a bloodline of wizards and warriors persecuted for the dark sorcery and occult crimes. In the new world, they built a lavish manor for themselves, the fabulous Castle Amber. But anyway, yada, yada, yada. And of course, now you're going to go adventure in Castle Amber. Fun, right? Oh, look at this artwork. This is beautiful. That's a gorgeous piece of work there. This one, but like I said, everything is pretty much in black and white. There's really nice artwork. Like, I'm just going to show you this, but there. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see. Not really. It's horror. It's bad. Black and white. We're gonna have to work on the other camera. Sorry, everybody. But there's a map in here that flips out, and this is Castle Amber. It was a lot of fun. I only dabbled in this one here, but it's a lot of fun. Has a lot of pictures, a lot of NPCs in it, and once again, everything you need is in these books. Now, here's a little spoiler for you because I'm always looking online for certain things, and one of my favorite module sets was the Temple of Elemental Evil. It's the T1, T2. And that's where it starts out. T1, T2. Temple of Elemental Evil. It starts in the village of Hamlet. And then it progresses to the keep. And then it moves on into the actual temple, the ruined temple. And I'm not going to say anything else in that. But it's T1 through 4. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. That whole series, then from there, it went on to a set of modules called the Giants series. Excuse me. Let me take that back. It went into the Slave Lord series. I think there was 4 modules to that. Then it went into the G series, which is the Giant series. The Giant of the Hills, the Keep of the Hill Seating Giant. I think, and there was the Frost Giant King Jarl, and then the Hall of the Fire Giant King. And then from then it went into the D series, which is where you got to fight the Drow. And then it culminated in the Q1, Queen of the Demon Web, which was the Loth one. So that beginning part of it, which is the Temple of Elemental Evil, is being redone also by them, I believe, Goodman Games, into a book just like this, which I'm going to get my hands on, which I hope I know the collective will order, and I'm going to definitely absolutely get my hands on.
We will not order anything for you, John.
Oh man, Steve.
What kind of store would we be if we were just ordering stuff for the customer?
Steven cracks me up. But no, they will sit there and order you just about anything. They've found me stuff that, it's hard to find. They found me stuff that's not so hard to find, just that they sold out really quick because, hey, I'm not the only one who runs adventures here. So there's a lot of people come and grab and buy this stuff. I just happened to be here when Glenfallow was put up on the shelves, and I got it even right out of the box and bought it that same day because I've been looking forward to this book. Yeah, I have to say that as far as stories and comic books, William Quinn is definitely at the top of my list with a couple other guys. He's one of the first to kind of come over into the fantasy realms and create a module that's really cool that I would definitely give 2 thumbs up to. I will be running that in my campaign at home, and once I kind of sort things out a little bit, there is a set, I think, a module before this, Daddy told me, that I'm going to try and get my hands on. And I think there's going to be a module after it. So, yes, I will be picking up that whole series. I love it. Well written, awesome adventure. It'll keep you playing for hours on end, days on end. So anyway, not a lot more to say about adventuring other than you just got to get out there and do it. If you want to play D&D, I've talked about the beginner books. I've talked about they're great for both players and for new dungeon masters. We've talked, of course, you see my dice. I love dice. These are all even though they still haven't sponsored it, Foam Brain Games, I'm still hoping that you guys come through. So today I gave you the exclusive Foam Brain Games. These are all the adventure character dice. So right here is the Bard's Lute. Here we have the Wizard's Wand. All of them are basically themed to characters. The Warlock's Eldritch Tome, which I have because they happen to be purple, and it's sitting on the Rogue's Dagger, which is a character class that I play a lot of. So there it is, Foam Brain Games. They make some awesome dice. They got some real nice precision dice in that. So I'm still looking for a dice sponsor. Come on, guys. Help a DM out. Anyway, nah, man, dice are awesome. I love them in all their forms and shapes and sizes. And of course, we have the Norse Foundry coins, which I really think are cool. They come in 1 and 10 and different sizes. So here's a 100, and then these have teeth on them, because these are the vampire set, I believe. Yeah. And they have toofuses on them. And on the back, this one's worth 10 coppers or whatever you want to make it in the game. And then over here, I have the Necromancer. So it's got undead stuff on the front, and this one's worth 100. 100 coppers is what I would make that one coin. So that's really cool. And you can use them as different countries. Different countries might use different. We talked about this, but anyway, just some accessories that I think are really cool. So listen, guys. And Danny said William. Yeah, I think I read that. William Samuel Quinn did a great job on this. He did. They've only got a couple copies left. So if you want a copy of it, definitely come down and grab one because they won't last. And I don't know.
Stuff flies out.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
it comes in and it's out. That's why I grabbed mine as soon as it did come in because I didn't want to get left out. Anyway, I'm going to bid you adieu from John's Dungeon Corner. I hope your adventures go great and that the road, as always, rises up to meet your feet. Everybody be safe. Good luck on your adventures.